What a treat it is here when we talk about relationships. I guess there's no more important relationship than the person you choose to share your deepest emotions with, your spouse, your significant other. And we have a treat today in that we have two people who have some great expertise, because that means of the three of us, there are two people who have great expertise in the area of relationships. And what a time of the year to be talking about love and romantic love. And so we're here today with a couple of people who can help us with that conversation. We'll start with Angela Stribling. Angela is a friend of the show, and she's a host of Pillow Talk with Angela. She's a singer, she's an actress, she's a TV host. She does it all, done it all, and we're so happy to spend time with her. And we've had her on the podcast before. How are you, Angela?
Thank you, Jim. I'm doing well. And you know what? I was so looking forward to having this conversation, because not just Valentine's Day, but I'm sure Lisa will agree, and you'll agree. I mean, relationships are everything. You just said that. It's everything.
They are. And Lisa, I know you have Lisa Concepcion has a lot of experience there. You're a certified life coach, dating and relationship expert and consultant. So what more important areas to be able to help people in professionally than to help them in their careers, in their life in general, and in particular in the relationship advice? Because as Angela just mentioned, it's all about relationships. And as recently as this morning, my producer, Lisa Sabat here, and I were reading an article from the professor at Harvard who's done the longest study of any human interactivity, over 80 years now, of a cohort of people. And startling discovery from researching these people's lives for all these years is that the key to happiness is relationships. Now, I know neither of you had to do 80 years of research to come up with that conclusion, but it's nice to see the empirical data come and confirm what we all know in our hearts and know through our life experiences is the most important thing for our mental health and frankly, for our physical health too, because people who have in their lives good and meaningful relationships of all different kinds live better lives, live happier lives, and physically healthier lives. Let's start, Lisa, with you as a professional coach in this area. Is there something that comes to mind that's the common element that you wish you had a magic fix for in terms of the people who come to you or maybe struggling sometimes in the scope of their relationships?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the common thread, if I had that magical wand, I would cure the planet of the chronic lack of self-worth and self-love that ultimately needs to be cultivated within all of us in order to align with and call in that ideal partner, that person who will enhance us as we go along our journey and learn and grow and experience things that challenges us. I always say relationship is pretty much the ability to work on yourself in the presence of another as they do the same.
You surprised us there a little bit when you started down that path to say that to have good relationships, it's not about the other person, it's about you.
We unfortunately don't arrive at that power of self-love, self-actualization until a few decades of life happens for many people. Maybe there's a divorce, maybe there's something significant that happens where a relationship falls apart. It could be a relationship even between a business partnership, and a lot of money is lost. All of these things that disrupt and have upheaval in our lives happen. And when we find that dark night of that dark place of the soul, where we're like the bottom of rock bottom, 50 feet under with, feces piled on top of us. We are beneath the bottom, and we have to look at that little light, that little pinprick of light, and move towards that light when we're in that dark, awful place. And in that journey of healing, the light opens up. That pinprick becomes a circle and a larger circle and a larger, until finally you're outside of it. And once you've gone through that, you've become different, and you've learned to acquire wisdom. You've learned to heal things about yourself that you might have had shame for, that now you have a lot of self-forgiveness. All of this nourishment that comes to rebuilding after upheaval changes us. And then we're able to have compassion for self and others. We're able to say, wow, you know what? This relationship, it wasn't only me, it was him too. Like, he was going through stuff too. And we really showed up like two wounded children in it. And now we have the opportunity to work on that. And once you commit to doing that, your life will improve exponentially in every other aspect of your life. You'll see that your business life will change. Your relationships with your family will change. Your friendships will change and grow. So always working on yourself and making that commitment of, I recognize I'm here to grow and this is a journey, and I'm going to commit fully to me, my nurturing, my betterment, my building myself up every day. And I'm going to bring that person to another so they could be inspired to do the same. Pretty much
You mentioned shame, and Angela, we've had conversations where we've talked about that. It comes up a lot. It's one of the most paralyzing emotions, right?
Yeah, it really is.
We all have those moments of shame, but boy, it sort of strikes a chord. And when you are an individual that's burdened with shame, it seems to overwhelm your ability to have a good enough opinion of yourself that you can contribute to a relationship.
I agree. I love everything Lisa just said. And, it manifests itself, that self-loathing and that feeling unworthy and not recognizing your person when they could be right in front of you because you don't feel like you deserve it. But it manifests itself in many ways. You'll find a lot of men and women who, instead of being open and vulnerable and all those things that will let someone in, because of the shame, they put up a defense mechanism. And then they're just ready to find all the reasons that it's not going to work in the mate. It's more like, there are no good men out there. We just did a show about that. There are no good women out there. And, a laundry list of reasons that it will never work, that relationships are doomed.
Well, it's easy to tell you that things won't work. And it's so much easier to give you a list of reasons why they won't work. You see that in business. It's so much easier to say, no, that'll never work. And it takes the optimist, the positive person, to champion new initiatives. And they're usually in a sea of naysayers, right?
Right, exactly. And again, just being strong enough, building yourself up to the point where you realize, you know what? Yes, I've got some things that maybe I'm ashamed of, but other people do too. And as soon as you can start just, all those things that you're maybe afraid to let someone know about you, those are your experiences. Those are the things that can make you stronger. Own it. And if you can open up and be vulnerable to another human being by accepting your own flaws, I think that's the beginning of the strength.
But there is the insecurity and the trust issue, right?
Yeah, very much so.
I know on your program you do a lot around intimacy, and it's so difficult for some of us to think of and to talk about intimacy. Right. What kinds of things would either of you do in a professional situation where you're trying to counsel people? How do you get couples of any kind who have trust issues to begin to overcome them? What path do you go down professionally?
I think there are a lot of people out there that still carry a lot of shame, maybe for the way they behaved in past relationships, and they still kind of have that baggage with them. So one of the things that I always like to share that it certainly helped me in my journey. Shame is transmutable through wisdom.
Yes.
So the best way to rid yourself of that negative energy of shame is to revisit it from a place of lessons and a place of, well, what did I learn here? I did this awful thing. I showed up this way. It led to these consequences. So where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And what new agreements can I make with myself in how I'm going to be moving forward? So you had this shameful thing that you did. Maybe you like cheated on someone or whatever. You lied about something. And you're able to be like, whoa, like what version of me did that? Why did I do that? And you do your own little self-analysis and you come to some conclusions and then you make a choice. Like, do I want to live in this shameful place forever and beat myself up? Or do I want to make new agreements? Now that I've done this, now that I've lived the consequences, now that I've messed it up and I fessed up, I can do better. And what will I now do? What new things can I attract now because I have this wisdom?
I love that. And that is, if you are willing to admit it to yourself, even that you're the one who messed up. There's so many wounded people who have been cheated on, and they might meet the potential love of their lives, but they're not letting him in because they're saying, you know what? I've been cheated on. And
I'm not going to let that happen to me again.
I'm not going to let that happen to me again. And so what you're really doing, even though you don't realize it, you're blocking all the love that can enter your life because you're still reliving that last scenario. You're saying the last time I had my heart open, the last time I was vulnerable, they broke my heart. They shattered me. I'm never going to be that girl or that guy again.
And is that embarrassment? To go back to shame again, where the shame of someone would cheat on me, therefore it's my fault. I'm less than I should be.
Fear. It's straight up fear. Like fear and shame are buddies. They hang out.
And it eats into your self-esteem. If you feel betrayed like that, here you are wide open. You're thinking, this is the one. I'm open. Maybe one day we'll get married. This is my boo. And then you find out this person has several others or one other. Emotional cheating, whatever kind of cheating.
Emotional cheating.
Emotional cheating is just as bad as the physical, I think, especially. It's horrible. And for that to happen to you, especially, maybe it's never happened before, just takes once. And it shatters your self-esteem because you're like, you know what? I didn't see that coming. Maybe they all cheat. Maybe it's me, all of that. And you've got to rebuild your own self-esteem. You've got to figure out a way to
self-trust too, like trust in everything, right? So it's super normal when you're duped, because that's what you're saying, right? You're in this thing, you think it's going one way and then duped.
Right. She says, oh, I thought we were in a committed relationship. Apparently not.
Exactly.
So now you're like, whoa, like what? But always the power lies in, all right, what did I not know that I now know that I can apply again? Because you're right. You're 100% right, Angela. You are not going to be the same person again. You will not be the same person again. Why? Because you lived through this. Once you're cheated on or once you cheat, it changes you forever. You're different. You can't go back. It's all rooted in this aversion to a very simple thing, which is God's law, natural law, right? You treat people how you want to be treated. If everybody just abided by that, there would be no deception. There would be no stealing the trust, right? Robbing someone of their ability to trust, coercion, manipulation. None of this would exist, right? But this is the journey. It's to realize we can do better within ourselves. We can examine how we show up in relationships and what it is that we're trying to get from the other person, that if those needs are not fulfilled, then now we cheat on them and go elsewhere, or they do that to us.
You're so right.
Right? Yeah. So, but when you're empowered to realize, A, no one's getting out of here alive. B, I'm in control of me. and people have the freedom to come and go like feathers in the breeze. If they come in, wonderful, have a seat. If they don't and they don't want to, bye. And if you have that power to be in that ease and flow of the reality that you can't control everybody, then you start to go inward. You start to take on that full responsibility of how you're going to show up in the world, how you're going to be ethically responsible for yourself in relationships. And this way, I call infidelity, cheating, betrayal, the unfortunate decision. So take me, for example, I'm married. Let's say hypothetically, I'm going along in my marriage, amazing. We have all these goals, everything's wonderful. And I find out, because I would, that my husband cheated. I would look at him within 5 seconds and say, my love, that's an unfortunate decision that you chose to make. And now because of that, there is a consequence. And here's what that is. And I am prepared, because I love me most, to follow through on that consequence.
Right. You grow to that point.
Grow to that. And that's what I help people to evolve to. I help a lot of people who are on that whole, oh my God, I can't trust anyone. Oh my God, I'm coming out of a relationship with a narcissistic abuser. Oh my God, oh my God. As we get burned and we heal our own wounds, we're able then to stand stronger, because we did it for ourselves. Once you do it for yourself, you will never tolerate any form of abuse, lying, infidelity, betrayal. You just won't tolerate it. It would be literally a 15-minute conversation. And it's an unfortunate decision that you made. I found out about it. I got to go.
There are consequences.
Right. 48 hours. I'm getting my stuff. I will be out of here, and we will proceed, but I'm not staying here.
Are you prescribing a permanent decision, or is that I need time to make decisions?
Oh, no. Where do you stand? In other words, what is your agreement with yourself
First,
on XYZ issue? If they cheat on you, how do you roll? What's your policy? What's your personal contract? What is in your
personal contract? And is that something you suggest
about that?
People discuss before time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's like something that it's almost like you buy a new car and you read the owner's manual, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, seriously, you know how many people they buy BMW, beautiful car in the driveway. They don't even know a tenth of what it can do, because they don't bother to read the owner's manual. But
that would be me.
Right? When you know your owner's manual, I created mine. I know exactly how I roll on certain key issues, and you communicate that with love and kindness for yourself and advocacy, not confrontational, not mean, not just stating facts. I'm simply reporting the news. And in relationships, oftentimes people start to talk about their past. So what happened? Why did you get divorced? Oh, my husband cheated on me. Oh, my wife cheated on me. Right. And we go down that path. But if you learn how to recreate and reinvent after that upheaval, and you say then from a point of wisdom, I got divorced because I was cheated on. And, I've been in relationships where I was the cheater and they cheated on me, and all around the circle it went. But what I learned was I had to make agreements with myself about how I proceeded after finding that out. And what I've come to know is, when someone makes an unfortunate decision to betray me in any way, I know exactly what I would do to advocate for me.
It's self-love, because on the other side of it, if you're saying, you know what, it's okay to lie to me, it's okay to cheat on me, it's okay to betray me, that's what you're saying to yourself. You're saying to yourself, I am not worthy of someone's respect. And even if someone cheats on you, you love them so much, you have not imagined a day without this person in your life. And they've cheated on you. And if you decide to stay, I'm not saying that people can't be forgiven, but that takes work.
I think so many wise things you've said already. But let's go to relationships that don't have the infidelity issue in it. I've been married about 106 years now. Actually, Angela, you might remember from your time with Marylou that this is 50th wedding anniversary year this year.
Oh, bravo.
So we got married as teenagers, or almost. and
You're so sweet together.
and I won the lottery in terms of an understanding woman, because with the chosen business career I had, it's been demanding a lot of times. So I won the lottery. But we all come across people, and I know, Angela, you do a lot of this work, as I suspect you do as well, Lisa. How do you help people to invest in the solid relationships they have? I didn't say good purposely, but how every relationship could be a little bit better. What do you do, Angela, with couples who just say, well, I've been married for 15 years. Everything's okay.
It is what it is.
What's the path you take to get them to want to invest, to have a better relationship?
Yeah. Well, I start with questions, and oftentimes, I have these events, these Pillow Talk with Angela events. So it's fun. And the couples get questions to ask each other that, maybe they haven't brought it up since the first year of their marriages or first year of their relationship, and just rethinking what it is that they want out of the relationship, how things are going, getting them to kind of think back to when they were dating and what it was that created that spark with their significant other in the first place. Because it's so easy to just, settle for the status quo and to just let every day, just, with the work routines and just everything can be routine, even their sex lives. So, I suggest that they try new things, but in a way that's not, nobody feels weird or nobody's blaming. Like, you don't do the things that you used to do before.
There's no safety nets involved here, is there?
No safety nets.
And do you have a prescribed path of those questions to get people to think about? Well, yeah, I when I met this young Fraulein, she was very young. I was very young, and what attracted me then, 20 years later, is very different. How do you get them to feel comfortable enough that after 20 years of marriage, there's emotional things they're talking about that they haven't talked about in 20 years?
Exactly. Questions like, are you still in love with your husband? Are you still in love with your wife? Little things like that really get them thinking. Have you told her? And I love that exercise that you just told us, because hearing that from your mate is everything. I just recently did this cruise, and of course I have my Pillow Talk events and I have my questions. I had this couple who was together for 57 years. And we were asking questions that they didn't know about each other. But, it was so good because it was little things that you just kind of take for granted along the way. But it's so good. I mean, just to hear from your partner, especially when I had just done the dating game. And, one of the guys was saying, listen, he's, single, probably going to be single for a while. Was saying women are just to this and women are just to that. Women are just to, and I felt like, maybe he's just never been in love before or never been vulnerable enough to just really let someone into his heart. You know what I mean? And then that next to these couples who have been together for so long and they just want to know how to love each other better. It's beautiful.
When you're working with a client in a life coaching situation, I have a friend who, very successful business guy, and winds up getting a divorce, sells his business and hired a life coach. He said it was the single best thing he had ever done.
Nice.
He changed his habits, his diet, his workout regimen, where he spent time. And now that he had a great deal of money because of the sale of his business, he devoted his life to very, very different things. But he said it was hiring a life coach and spending a year or so working with her that he really, really did change himself. He said now he had the time to do it. He said, my best investment wasn't taking that money and putting it into a portfolio. His best investment was hiring a life coach and investing in himself.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's always sends a big message to the universe when you're like, yeah, I'm throwing down money on me, right? I'm going to commit full on, all in. I'm showing up every week. I'm doing a little homework in between. Yeah, I mean, like hiring, I mean, I have coaches. really, I always look to better myself, right? Like, what kind of coach would I be if I don't have a coach myself, right? Like, it's a hypocrisy, right? So getting back to the thing about coaching couples and the difference, like the way I approach it, I'm very into seasons of life. I think we all evolve and change and grow. And so to your point, congratulations, by the way, 50 years, amazing. Like I'm turning 52 next month. So I'm thinking like, whoa, these people were married for like as long as I'm alive. Like that's
Indeed.
awesome, right? So I like to get a sense of what season are you in life? Like, are you in the about to retire, hang out, travel the world season, hang out with grandchildren season? Like what are you doing? What are you looking forward to? Because
All
you're not
above.
35. You're not the same, right? You're not the same people you were 20 years ago. You're not the same people you were 5 years ago. So both of you today, what does over there look like? Tell me about that. And just allowing the couple to dream new dreams together, it connects them in a way of, ooh, I didn't know you wanted to travel and go to Europe for a month. I had no idea you wanted to do that. Really?
I bet that's common, right? They think
and
they
like,
know.
they look at each other like, hi, nice to meet you. You're kind of nice. Like, I like this. And so it's amazing, like when people are given the non-judgmental, safe platform to speak openly and honestly, and you make it like you're, for me, I like to be almost like the mediator or like the holder of the space of like fair game. Everything can be said. This is all good. We're in a open, honest realm. And that's when you can probe and you can be like, I have this couple and I asked them, I'm like, so like, what are you up to? You're like, what, 63, you're 61. Like, what are you doing next? And they're like, well, we want to be closer to our grandkids, but like, we're still not quite retired yet. And I want to do something also because I'm not going to stop working ever. And I don't want my brain to turn to mush. So we just had this like amazing conversation, like, well, let's dream a little bit.
Do you suspect they hadn't had that conversation until they were working with you?
Yeah, well, because they kind of did it in dribs and drabs, but more from a place of complaining and not from a place of dreaming, right? Like more from a place of overwhelm and that the agreements that they have and they watch the grandkids and they don't mind it and they like having time with them, but they're like losing a sense of where they're going next in their life too. And part of them wanted to be snowbirds too, so they can like be warm and do both, but they don't leave because the kids are close and the kids need them because they're the grandparents. Whole big interwoven thing. So when we got to really look at the knots that they were participating in keeping tight, and we loosened that knot by really helping both people tap into their true desires. Right? Like, how can you orchestrate your life so that you have joy and fulfillment and still relationships with your grandkids, great relationship with your parent, with your daughter and son? Like, you can think about how you want to live your optimal, and then work it backwards so that you make it happen. You manifest together. And I'm telling you, a couple who dreams together, manifests together, that is a true adventure.
That's an investment in time and the possibility that there might not be alignment. The bully in the relationship says, I really don't want to hear what she wants because I know what I want.
There is that.
Well, then that's an egoic relationship. That's not even really a relationship. It's not a collaboration. It's a dictatorship.
Let's say there are children involved and now some grandkids. You said they want to spend some time with grandkids. The old saying, Angela, is you're only doing as well as the least of your kids. And that multiplies when you have grandkids because now you're only doing as well as the least of your kids and your grandkids.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And how do you work with people to say, you got to be there and you want to be caring and you want to be supportive, but you have to have a little balance in your life?
So interesting. I just got married too in November.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. You too. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And
You guys going on a honeymoon at the same time,
Maybe.
So in my vows, I said, I promise to care for myself deeply love myself so that I can bring a full me to you.
I love it.
And like a lot of people I coach struggle with self-love because they're pleasing everybody, right? They have a line of people and they need from them, right? They need mom, they need sister, they need coworker, right? And they're wearing all the hats, but they forget to ask these two important questions. Well, how do I feel? What do I need? And it's not selfish to check in with yourself and ask that. Sister says, oh, can you help me move my furniture because I bought a new rug and I need you to help me. You're my sister. I need you to help me. And you say, okay, well, how do I feel? What do I need? Okay. I feel like I can help my sister. Good. What do I need? Well, I need to do this on Saturday because I can't do it any other time but that. So I'm going to advocate for myself. My beloved sister, I would love to help you. Here's how it works for me. I will bring over lunch, pizzas or whatever, and we will move carpet on Saturday afternoon. What do you think?
Does that work for you?
That's it.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And especially as women, we're the nurturers and we don't consider our own feelings first, unless we're more self-actualized. And it's a very important thing, if you're not, to figure it out and check in with yourself first. It's like, yes, I'd love to do this, but wait a minute. Would I? Can I? And will it hurt me to do it?
And the other thing to consider too is like, I don't know. Some people say, oh, recovering codependent. To me, I don't think there's a such thing as recovering codependent. I think you're codependent and you navigate life as such, right? Yeah. I often tell people like, it's really a habit, like a wiring that has to happen in your mind, a pathway you need to form by repeatedly asking you that yourself. Right. How do I feel? What do I need? Because let me tell you, there are people probably listening to this and they can relate where they will go hours without standing up from their computer and taking a break to refill their water, to go have lunch, that they don't realize that it's 2 p.m. until their stomach growls and their head is light because they haven't eaten. Yeah. Simple things like that. The self-care is such a thing that codependents forego because they're so used to being entrained to acquiesce to the needs of everybody else.
That's right.
So they forget, it's not a fault. It's a simple training that you were taught as little kids. If you are codependent, that everybody else's moods, whims, requests matter more than yours.
That's right.
And so you end up silencing your truth. You end up saying, yeah, I'm not really hungry, whatever you want. Meanwhile, you're starving.
Right. Women.
Okay, here we are. It's Valentine season. And you both work
red just for the occasion.
And it looks great. But now give us some of your pearls, each of you. I'll start, Angela, on your show, Pillow Talk with Angela. You help so many couples in so many different ways. And I know from firsthand experience that when people realize who you are in a public setting, they can't wait to chat with you and get some help from you. So this is something you practice at doing. A couple, married or not, but in a relationship, what advice do you give them to invest in themselves and therefore next in their relationship? You're sitting on a bench outside a beautiful resort in Sonoma, waiting for Ken to come out from his most recent talk. And someone says, aren't you Angela Stribling? And you go, yes, I am. She goes, oh, I listen to Pillow Talk with Angela all the time. It's so good. You know, I'm not sure my relationship is where I'd like it to be. And Angela says, well, in the few minutes we're going to have here together, sitting on this bench on this beautiful day, here's what I'd suggest you think about.
Here's what I suggest. First of all, tell me what's going on in your relationship. And I just want to get a picture of that. Get them talking about what they want from the relationship. What is it? How are you feeling in the relationship? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? It kind of depends on where they are. Do you feel open and free to really let your partner know what your needs are? Or are you so focused on what their needs are that you feel like maybe yours don't matter? I mean, the gamut. I think, I always go back to the communication thing because it sounds so simple, But that seems to be the root of everything. Oftentimes people forget how to talk to each other, or, maybe they say something and maybe it's a hot button for your partner and they don't want to bring it up ever again, but it's
And
important for them
talk,
to get this out.
take that apart first, because talking is, hey, what's for dinner? But you're talking about talking.
Real stuff. Yeah, like honey, I don't know, as an example, I really feel bad when you come in and I'm watching TV and you just turn the channel without asking me. Little
Uh-oh.
things, you know what I mean? It could be little things that could seem small to your partner, but it could make you feel just really invalidated. You know what I mean? Like not of that you don't matter. Little things. And the person's like, oh, that's no big deal. Maybe it is.
But little things add up, you're saying.
They add up. And then the resentment starts from something so little, where if you are able to get to a place that you're strong enough to say, you know what, I was watching that show. That's one of my favorite shows. I don't mind watching what you want to watch, but could you check in? Could we talk about it before you just make that move? I just mean little check-ins like that can really make the person feel like their opinion matters.
But
So
you said it there. It's all about communication. And Lisa, has anyone ever gifted you your services as a gift to their partner, saying, our relationship is good, but it could always be better? And I heard about this wonderful lady, Lisa Concepcion, who some friends said really was a great investment in their relationship, which they thought was pretty good, but it's even gotten better. Have you ever been gifted?
Yes, I have been gifted, and this is the season of the gifting. I mean, it happens oftentimes, but around Valentine's Day season, I guess it's a time where people assess, where are we in this relationship? It's supposed to be a time of romance, and I'm forgetting that next week is Valentine's Day, right? So a lot of times, because I'm so active on social media, people find me easily, or they'll hear me on a podcast or whatever, and they go check out my website and they'll drop me a note and say, hey, I want to give my sister and brother-in-law your services for whatever holiday, because they're constantly complaining about each other to me, and I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm going to give them to you.
There you go.
And they do that. And then also there are people who want to do more goal setting. They love their beloved. They're like, no, we love everything. It's amazing. But our kids just left the house last year. I'm having issues adapting to who we are now. We're new people now. We have a 22-year-old, a 24-year-old, and they left. They moved out, done. So now we're looking at their bedroom sad.
Now we have to talk to one another.
Right. So the woman in this case, she said, I'm going to gift you to us, to my husband and me, and we're going to sit here and make some agreements about what we're doing with our kids' rooms. We're going to convert them into, he always wanted a reading library. I always wanted a crafts room. And I said, well, grandbabies will come soon, so consider that. Maybe you put like a trundle bed in these rooms or whatever. We'll get creative and hang out. But there are other things that get discovered when you start peeling that onion back, where they strengthened their communication. They made new agreements about this new season in their life. They started to admit things that they thought they would be shamed about. I thought it was shameful to take away my kids' rooms. What if they want to come back? Well, what's your agreement on that? Do you let them come back? Do you let absolutely. If my kids came back and they needed me, really? Well, what do you think about that? And he wasn't on the same page. He's like, no, they're adults. They need to figure it out. And I mean, it was a very candid, truthful discussion, but it really allowed them the space to connect on key issues of where they wanted to take themselves next as a couple. And it was fun. And they had practical, actual action items that the second they hung up the phone with me, they were like, okay, step one, we're going to measure the rooms. We're going to see furniture. We're going to figure it out.
Come away with a plan?
Yes, they come away with a plan. And a couple that has a plan, it's very Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? If you go back to the olden times and the olden books, right? The classic books. When you have, and it's very biblical also, but when you have two or more people focused on a specific outcome, that outcome will be made manifest, period. Because the energy of that commitment to the thing that you want to see happen, then it becomes this fun creation of it, this co-creation, this collaborative way of creating the very thing that you want. And then it's so cute because then they're like sending pictures. Look at the room. Look what we did.
You're not wanted here anymore.
So nice. I mean, this is like basic stuff, right? These are like more of like people gifting me because they are solid, but they have this little funky thing happening in their life and they want to approach it together as a team. And they may have been procrastinating. So couples who were together a long time, they get into this, what I call the hamster wheel of life, where you like wake up, go to work, come back, eat, watch TV, sleep, repeat. And then and years and years go by and you're like, I didn't know one day different from the other, except my outfit was different. That was it. Everything's the same. Except today we ate chicken, yesterday we ate steak. It was the same life though. So when people get into that, there needs to be like a pattern interrupt, like some kind of thing that you're going for. I always like to do a thing annually. What is this year going to be about? What is the goal? What is the big thing that you're creating this year? And you'll see how couples start to live their lives in accordance with that thing that they want to create, whether it's a home renovation, whether it's, somebody trying to have a baby, whatever their thing is. This is the year of, drum roll, what is it?
And how
this is the year of I start my own business. Wonderful. Husband, how are you supporting your beloved in this adventure, in this pursuit? And then it's, well, I need to know that she has this much money in the bank before she starts a business. And I need to know this. And okay, because he's coming at it from logic problem solving. Cool. Now, what do you need? I need to feel like he's all for it, that he wants me to do it. I need to feel that he is in on it with me. And then it's like, okay, well, it sounds to me that he needs to know you have like 10 grand disposable income in the bank. So he feels that he can have your back, that you're serious. And he's like, exactly. And I'm like, okay, do you have that money? She's like, honey, I have 20 grand saved up. This man needs nothing. But he, I think, is just jealous that I'm taking this chance and he's still confined to his business that he's over and tired and burnt out on. Oh, now we have another juicy layer of the onion to bite into. And that's how it is.
Look at a cycle we've gone through here. We've gone through romantic love to married for 100 years. To trouble in a new stage of life. We got it all covered here.
Yes, it's all covered.
But in this Valentine gifting season, it's been my chance to gift to our community exposure to you two guys, because you're two wonderful folks who spend a lot of time and a lot of your energies helping other people to have better and richer lives. And as we identified in the very beginning, that's all starts with having more and better and deeper relationships. And you do that professionally. I think you do it naturally in your own lives. And it's my gift to our community to be able to introduce them to you, Angela Stribling, and to you, Lisa Concepcion. What a treat it is to have you share your wisdom with our community today. So happy Valentine's season. And I hope when we put in the notes on how best to contact you, that there's lots of folks in our community will benefit from your professional services too.
Jim, thank you.
I hope so. Thank you so much. What a delight to meet both of you and have this awesome conversation. So high vibe.
This was so good. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's.